Okay, we are live. Just gonna make sure I am all set up here to check all the comments and everything on my phone. Yay! Welcome if you're just joining us. I would love to see who's here. So
Yeah,
just feel
welcome,
free to say my
welcome.
hi. Or if you're watching the replay, you can hashtag replay and you can say hi and we can see who is joining in this transmission with us. I'm so excited to be here with you today, Adrian. There's so much energy just like buzzing, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we were talking about just before this how the veil is, of course, incredibly thin. At the moment, there is a lot of astral activity. So if you're watching, feel free to share how you're feeling. Hi, Tasha.
Yeah,
Welcome. Hi,
Halloween blessings,
Brandy.
Samhain blessings,
Yeah.
Scorpio season blessings.
Whew. Yeah. It's a special time.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Well, the last time you guys probably saw Adrian and I together, we were speaking from the frequency of Lemuria,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which is a really specific frequency that both of us are connected to. And we created a container that is called Homecoming, which has just been such a beautiful, treasured
Yes.
portal experience with you and the women who've been with us. But, more recently, we've been on a bit of a different frequency that we're being called to speak into and share about and connect with you guys around. I don't know if you want to, do you want to mention the podcast? I don't know when that's coming out.
Oh yeah, tomorrow. So this live is occurring on October 31st, a holy day for us magical beings. And then on November 1st, we have a brand new podcast dropping. And it's called The War on the Goddess. And both Julia and I are being called basically into the core and our umbilical cord connection to Gaia and the dark feminine leadership and what that means, you know, beyond love and light, looking at the truth of our 3D reality and a feminine leadership archetype with reverence, responsibility, flow and focus,
Mm-hmm.
grace and grit, strategy, structure, precision. So it's really the death of the princess and the rise of the queen.
Yeah. Because it's not the princess archetype that's going to change the planet.
No.
I truly believe that it is the embodied, mature feminine that will change the planet.
Yeah.
Um, there's lots and lots of different layers to this conversation and different places where we could go. Welcome, you guys, if you're just hopping on. Um, Feel free to say hi. But I would love to just ask you, Adrian, what does femme ascension like mean to you? The ascension of the feminine. Um, can you share what you feel like that term is?
Yeah. Femme ascension is, to me, all of the powerful magical women who've been underground doing their practices, doing their rituals, rising again and rewriting history and not getting burned this time because we refuse to burn ourselves. We refuse to burn each other. And we speak and we use our power on purpose. And so it really is this calling deep in to like the root and allowing it to support you in the ascension, to be seen again. And God, source, spirit, divine mother, divine father, the stars has teed us up for this. Okay, we had 2 eclipses in a row. Venus ruled. Venus is the divine feminine. We had the South Node in Libra, karmic purge, any people pleasing, any hesitation, any disharmony in partnership. We
Mm.
purged.
Yeah.
And then we had the North Node, final installment of the North Node eclipse in Taurus, which was all about embodiment, wealth, self-worth in the earthly plane, rooted in Mother Earth consistently. And so, those are some big themes, and it's all about power.
Mm.
And again, Taurus is Venus ruled. And so spirit has, whether we like it or not, spirit has clicked us, double click, click, click into the timeline of the return of the feminine, the Femme Ascension. And what we're seeing in the world right now, this massive exposure of what happens when people use power for the agenda of darkness is undeniable. And so I come back to this quote again and again and again and again. Martin Luther King said, "Those who love peace must learn to organize just as effectively as those who love war."
Mm.
So if we want to not want, because when we want something, we're manifesting that we don't have it, right? If we are advancing the agenda of the light, it requires the Femme Ascension.
Yeah, and going back even further from what you mentioned, Adrian, it's like I just remember this Venus retrograde we had back in like July,
Mhm.
just taking us really deep into these like portals of feminine power and remembrance, and I experienced it personally, and I also witnessed like massive DNA light ups like
Yeah.
happening for people around the planet, like particularly with these like ancient feminine codes, you know.
Hmm.
And so I really resonate with what you shared about how we've been kind of being teed up for this moment, and would love to know if anyone who's watching like feels this.
Yeah.
Do you feel it? Do you see it in your own lives? Like the things that are being stripped away, that are falling away, the things that are being exposed, and the power that you are being called to wield and to step up and actually take responsibility for.
Hmm.
Like the women that I work with uh, are not necessarily just like helpless, dainty little flowers. Like these are, I see women every day who, regardless of what their self concept is or what they're identified with at this particular moment in time, have this like immense, incredible, ancient power.
Hmm.
and like many, many lifetimes
Mm-hmm.
of service and study and mastery
Mm-hmm.
of gifts, of elements, of, ways of working with the earth, ways of working with the breath, ways of working with energy, ways of working with sexuality, right? These,
Especially in Scorpio. Scorpio rules sex.
yeah, I mean, that's a big piece of this, right? Like reconnecting with the power of raw sexual energy, which is life force energy, which is creation energy, and all of these things that I think well, I just want to say again to go back, like, if you're watching this, it's very likely that like you're not a beginner soul. Like you're not like new to this shit. You're not like, oh my God, what's going on a soul level? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you are fucking powerful, immensely powerful, and you have really incredible codes for the collective. Um, but I feel where a lot of women are held back is just again like this. Not only, I mean, we spoke, I think in the last live we did together about kind of like that terror that we feel in ourselves, and that's really relevant and really pertinent here. But it's also like there is this element of demonization,
Uh-huh.
that we went into a bit on the podcast. And I find this to be really relevant to Scorpio themes as well.
Oh yeah.
Like the places we feel like this is bad, like this is dark, this is evil, this is sinful, this is wrong, this is dirty. And those places often, I've found, are where actually our deepest power lies. And so if we don't go into those places, if we allow that fear to overtake us, and if we are really so committed to disowning our own power in this way, like we are going to demonize that externally,
Mm-hmm.
and we are going to punish it externally. We're going to continue to push it away internally
Mm.
and then feel helpless. When in reality, that's the furthest thing from the truth of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the truth is you're powerful as fuck and you're ancient and you came back right here, right now, because you have a divine assignment. And how dare we ghost this assignment? How dare we see the atrocities just so obviously and not take responsibility for our divine assignment? Like, it's so massively important. And it's not about not having fear, and it's not about being perfect or any of those
Right.
distortions. It's about having a holy stewardship of your choice, of your innate abilities, and choosing it again and again and again and again. And the demonization, this is the modern day version of burning the witches. And we see it everywhere.
Yeah.
Fellow women and womb carriers who carry the deepest code of creation, people that carry wombs. And when you have that inner demonization, like what you're sharing, Julia, when you demonize your own inner power and you don't take responsibility for it and you don't honor it, you spread mad hate, you talk shit, you judge other women. And so it's just a reflection of the inner world However, it's this loop that is, you know, it's a direct affront to a new earth. It's a direct affront to a world we're proud of, to harmony, to bliss, to unconditional love, to freedom for all people.
Mhm.
Is this demonization of the the queen feminine?
Yeah.
I don't know. Are people vibing with this?
I'm just checking the comments. Yes, it's been a huge clearing so that I could step into these gifts. Absolutely. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I see it big time. Hello, April. Hello, Jessica. Thank you for going live today. Thank you for being here with us. Gosh, so
Mm-hmm.
many powerful people on this call, so many powerful women here watching. Um, Fuck. I'm just really grateful to be connected to all of you,
Mm-hmm.
honestly. Really grateful to be connected to all of you. And, I think during these last few weeks where there has been so much being publicly disclosed and so much happening, and people's reactions to what is happening and just all of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've been sitting deeply with kind of like, what is my role here?
Mm-hmm.
And what is my responsibility here as a leader? And what is like the message that I have? And what you shared about, I mean, I think it's like there's a lot of this work that I've been called to around just reflecting people's power to them, reminding people of their power, like sparking that remembrance of who people really are. Um, you know, because it fucking matters.
Oh, it matters so much. It matters so much. And I literally wrote to one of my clients before logging off for the weekend because that eclipse was fucking potent. I was literally I literally went to the doctor for my physical body because I'm a Taurus rising and that's just how it goes.
Yeah.
Um I said to her, I said, take good care of yourself and don't forget who the fuck you are.
Yeah.
Maintain your connection to spirit at all costs. Like, and it's like, the reason we must choose differently if we're going to rewrite history. Like the same choices where we don't speak and we placate and we dim our lights and we let discomfort dismantle our destiny. We can't allow that shit.
No. And I think for a lot of us, Adrienne and I have been talking about this a lot and experiencing it together. And I'm so grateful for our friendship to be able to like hold each other through the whole process and all the shifting and rearranging that's been happening. But there's a massive timeline split that's occurring like at this very moment. I mean, it's been occurring for a while, but especially I think in the month of October, I've
Mhm.
seen it intensify tremendously. And we're going to see it intensify more this timeline split. And there are things that a lot of us used to be able to do, parts of ourselves we were able to cut aside, masks we were able to wear, um, ways of operating within a specific paradigm that we were able to, execute. And it's like the door has just I don't know about you guys, but for me, like the door to those things has just completely shut. Like it's like
Mhm.
my body is like, fuck no, we're not doing that. And even if I try, it's like it doesn't work. So
Mhm.
I'd be curious to know if you guys are feeling this, but um it's going to be real hard to ignore the call of your destiny right now. Like, good luck fighting against it, you
Yeah.
know? Good luck with that. Like, and, I just feel it's really, really important to root into your ancient power. And, we're speaking specifically about women and about the feminine right now. And by the way, the feminine is not exclusive to women, but it is obviously associated strongly with women, with people who have female bodies. But it is an energetic that is calling to be integrated within the collective in a different way right now. And we all have different codes in order to assist with that integration process.
Mm.
Um, but I just feel right now is like really the time to trust and anchor into um, that connection with what you know to be the deepest and truest thing, and the
Mhm.
deepest and truest thing about you, you
Mhm.
know it's time to like bring that forward. It's like not time for the surface level bullshit. It's not time for any more placating and pretending. It's not time for playing anybody else's game, you know? It's not time for fucking around.
No,
Like,
no,
it's
literally the every single time, like this is going to sound extreme. And guess what? We live in an extreme time. Welcome to it.
mhm,
Every time you, and when I say you, I say me too. Every time we fuck around, lives are lost. Every time we fuck around, darkness advances at a rapid clip, and quote unquote light workers keep doing the same avoidance dance they've been doing for years and years and years and years. And I say the buck stops with me, not on my watch. I don't care how many people, you know, are activated by me. I've really leaned into, I don't know if I'm going to use the word trigger anymore,
mm,
because people are like, "Oh, she triggered me." I'm like, "Yo, you're not like that's like a sneaky like I'm not responsible for my reality thing. Like it's something that
mm,
happens to you, which is very princess."
yeah,
And
that's
so
princess energy for sure.
I love the word activated because it's like, oh yeah, I'm activated. And what am I going to do? Is it going to be, am I choosing that it's a portal to my potential and a quantum leap? Or am I choosing that it's a reason to not show up, a reason to not be on, like, and it takes that, like, here's the thing, to engage with an activation in that way requires you to be in this level of power that we're talking about,
Yeah.
this fortress, this fortitude. And it's really been lost and demonized, and it gets to come back.
Yeah. Yeah, and it starts with us as individuals, right? So it's just, I mean, again, speaking specifically to women, but really for everyone, I feel like right now is a really important time to be asking, what is my relationship to power? What is my relationship to my own power? If you ask yourself nothing else during this time, like that would be the thing that I personally would recommend that you ask yourself. The
Yes.
other thing might be like, where am I at war inside of myself?
Yes.
But I feel the two are quite linked.
Yeah. Here's the thing. The moment you acknowledge your power is the only moment where you can change your life. It's the only moment, and it's the only moment where we can change the world. And so this is going to hit different now based on current events. I come back to again and again and again Viktor Frankl, who lived in a Nazi concentration camp, and he said the last of the human freedoms that cannot be stripped away. I mean, I'm paraphrasing like the message. I don't have his exact words in my brain right now, but is our ability to choose our attitude. And that's personal power, right? Like things around us can swirl and be challenging and all of that. And no matter what other people do, we always have the power to choose our attitude, choose our perspective, choose how we engage with things.
Yeah.
That
And
doesn't
there
mean
are,
that
I
shit's
mean,
easy by any.
no, and there are things where, I feel like there's a lot of involuntary processes that occur, obviously,
Yeah.
So it's not, I want to delineate here a bit between like power and control,
Oh yeah.
and looking at where we actually have choice, because there are certain things that we're not going to have choices that we like.
Right.
And there's not going to be a capacity to be in control of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And, we're going to confront deeply devastating things, and we get to allow ourselves to be human in those moments and have all of the experiences that we need to have, and it's all okay. Like, I don't want to give the impression here that, when we talk about feminine ascension, it's actually about reaching some kind of perfected state where things don't bother you anymore,
Oh,
because
we gotta
that's
let
that
it bother us.
well,
This,
and that's about as far away from the true feminine as you can actually get.
yeah.
Because the feminine is not, I mean, the feminine is the antithesis of perfection energy. It's the antithesis of control. It is actually the involuntary. It is actually the stuff that happens through you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's through your surrender that you find like this deeper power to actually be with what is, to let things move through your body, and then to be guided by this deeper place, and to take responsibility for feeling through what's yours to feel through,
Mm-hmm.
right? To take responsibility for moving through all of those processes, some of which are involuntary, and
Mm-hmm.
to just continue to show up in surrender, in truth, and to
Mm-hmm.
continue to ask, what are my choices here?
Yeah.
And what energy can I hold here? And how am I meeting this now? Instead of continuing to be victimized by life and by
Uh-huh.
circumstances. Now, I'm not talking about people who are in a situation where they're acutely impacted by some kind of like disaster. I mean, I'm what do I want to say here? There are places where we must allow ourselves to be victimized, and there are places where we have to meet the fact that, we have been victimized.
Yeah.
And I
So
feel
it's
that's really
very,
important.
very true. That's part of the horrific reality is that we're in a major power struggle as we unlock the age of Aquarius. And I haven't met one woman who hasn't had power used over her, especially
Right,
with her body. And that's not your fucking fault, you know?
right,
And so it's acknowledging that truth and also knowing that, like, yeah, that's not my fault. Yeah, this is fucking wrong. and like I'm going to meet myself in that. And that's the power of like, no matter what, you have your own back, no matter what, you can heal, no matter what, you can walk yourself home, no matter what, you are a powerful creator, like no matter what. And so this is the queen femme ascension responsibility, because it transcends fault, and it transcends fairness. Like there's a lot of shit that's not
Mm-hmm.
fair or correct. There's a lot of shit that's not our fault. And yet we have this power within us. And it's so important. Like we are the liberators of ourselves. And we're the liberators of the world. And it's within us, and then within groups of other people who are liberating, groups of other women. Like my connection with you, Julia, shows me again and again and again and again how important connection from this powerful place is. And I actually heard the most interesting thing the other day, and it was like, I'm forgetting who, I feel a Shay. I, I'm trying to remember who posted it.
Mm-hmm.
They were talking about how, the gossip of like the hen house, when women get together and like talk, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like, and they were actually saying, be aware of how you talk about the masculine with when you're with women,
Yeah.
because that's first of all gonna directly affect what you call in terms of a partner, if you're calling in a male partner. And then also like not holding the masculine high, even when there's a correction to be made, like is the wounded feminine. And so it's like that rhetoric, and then also the rhetoric of like, are we gonna, no matter what we're talking about when women gather, is it's like, are we gonna stay up in this like blah, 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 like drama, distraction, because gossip is just a distraction from your own healing. The queen power, we it's a connection point, not on chaos. It's a connection point on ideas, truths, reverence, like holding
Energy.
energy. And all this frou-frou, like hi 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 hi, you know what it is, it's overactive throat chakras that are not doing the work. And the Femme Ascension requires us to go down into the lower chakras together,
Yeah.
and from there we ascend.
Yeah. Yeah. And the feminine power is also not egoic, and it's not mental.
Uh-huh.
It's I mean, a lot of people talk about it as being more heart centered, right? But I think it's more full body centered, and I think it's more root centered, right? And so I think like this is such an interesting conversation, and so important to look at, where are we finding connection points with people. And it's not like it's bad to just connect through chitty chatty or whatever, but it's like, if we're only in these realms where like that's how we're connecting. And by the way, gossip can be extraordinarily destructive, and just karmically it's not that great, right? And it's just not, I mean, it's like junk food, right? And
Well,
if
and it's
that,
it's misinformation. It's
yeah.
misinformation. This is one of the ways that the matrix leverages us against ourselves.
Hmm.
Okay?
Oh, I think you froze. All right, A froze a little bit. There
Every
you are.
time I
You're
have
back.
something,
Every time
transformative.
you're about to drop some bombs, the connection goes out.
I was just saying, like, this is how the Matrix
Oh,
distracts us. And people gossip and spread misinformation. We see it about women leaders. Like, people catch something and it's like the moment the nervous system of the collective is activated and people feel in their cells that they're unsafe, a tribal fear-based rhetoric appears, and it's a certainty that people latch onto and just spread this just like, it's unhealed Gemini. um
yeah, I feel that. Well,
and
and you have a third house Chiron. I have
yeah.
Gemini Chiron. So real
You know,
familiar with how dangerous this energetic can be.
oh yeah.
Careful when you're just talking shit about people you don't know on the
Well,
internet.
here's the thing. um
It's damaging.
People will gossip because they want you to feel unsafe, so you stop using your power. Okay, let's just call it. That's what it is. Because at a nervous system level, which, if you don't know this about me, I specialize in nervous system healing through breath work of new earth integrity. By the way, there's breath work charlatans left, right, and center that don't even know they're being used as puppets for the matrix because they're not trauma informed. um that's a whole other life.
Oh my gosh, Adrian, I have to stop you for a second. I just realized I didn't record, and I know you wanted to put this on YouTube. So I'm gonna record right now. I'm so sorry.
No worry.
I also might be able to grab it from my Facebook. I don't know. I'll ask Ra. Ra's on the live. Maybe
Hey Rob, we need your
can help.
projector
We
magic.
need your projector magic.
Yo.
Not right now, baby. Later for video recording stuff. He comes in, he's like, "What do you need?" Um, I also want to read some of these comments, but I know you were like mid thought.
So if we talk about it from a nervous system level,
Yeah.
people are just, if we look at the issues in the whole fucking world, it's a trauma response, a nervous system response. It's all about people's cells feeling like they're unsafe and what they are doing to try and create the illusion of certainty and safety. And that's what gossip comes from, because it's like, yo, I see that person in their power and it's making me uncomfortable. And I have not done the work to discern the difference between being uncomfortable and unsafe. So I take
Right.
everything as a personal attack on my safety. And so I gossip because I want them to stop. And so when we have that awareness, people talk shit because they want you to feel unsafe, so you stop because they're fucking uncomfortable. First of all, that's not your problem. Second of all, it's par for the course if you want to spearhead a movement. And third of all, just having that awareness is like, it makes me double down on my mission. I'm like, we got to heal all the nervous systems because people are gossiping. And then my nervous system gets activated because I was given to the patriarchy through gossip. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to die. And it's this whole thing. And so it's like, you know, and laughter, like, we can laugh at it. Like, that's laughter's medicine. And it's like, oh wow, like, we are human and we're in a human experience and we're in a human body, and like there's so much pain. And at the same time, like, when you are committed and you heal and reset and recalibrate your nervous system consistently, you can sit in the seat of your power. Like, I, even from the beginning of this conversation, I was leaned in and now I'm leaned back. Like, I've done so, and it's not that I don't get activated by that stuff anymore. However, I'm able to witness it and grab my tools There's a reason why I have a modality, because I just combined a bunch of shit that I learned and somehow, channeled this thing that heals me consistently. And so
Mhm.
I just grabbed for it again. And that's an example of my power, because it's like, okay, I'm activated because people are attacking me online. Welcome to the road of a new earth in the age of Aquarius. All right. um, and I grab my tools. I take responsibility for the state of my nervous system, and
Mhm.
then I keep showing up. So,
Yeah, you're such a beautiful example of this, Adrian. Just how you just continuously choose to meet the things. You
mm,
don't like sidestep the things. I just don't see you like doing weird shit when like you have a tough time. It's like we all have it happens for me all the time. I mean, we'll be on a call like because like stuff happens and stuff comes up and it like gets hard and sometimes we'll do weird shit or whatever. But some people like do really weird shit and they just react really unconsciously to the things that happen. And the way that you show up and just like meet the things, you slow down, you like really look at it, you like really ask, like, how can I process this in this moment? How can I care for myself in this moment? Like, what is being asked of me? What is being required of me? And then you show up and you move through it. And then I talk to you the next day and you're like, this clarity dropped in, I'm like in a different space, like you move through things so quickly and so powerfully. I think because of how connected you are to your own sense of choice and responsibility.
mm, yeah.
You're
Thank you for that reflection. And
welcome.
it's it's one of the things I'm most proud of in my whole life. Um,
Yeah, you
because it
should
wasn't
be.
always that way. And
Mhm.
it's a well-worn path now. Um, it wasn't always that way. And you and I both have histories in this lifetime of just numbing out and addiction and running away and disassociating. And so like it really is, it's so important. And I come back to, breath work aligned with astrology, it makes me a better person. It makes me the person that I came here to be.
Yeah.
It takes the words out of my journal and makes it real. Like, and that's what I know is possible for every person. And that's why I just refuse to see anyone not in their power, no matter how much they dislike, you know, that.
Yeah, that's what makes you such a great leader and mentor too. Um, she said Matrix and she got zapped. Yep. I
Yep.
want to read some of these comments, you guys. Adrian and I can just talk and talk. Um, thank you for being on here with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really want to be open and not fight my calling. Yeah, and I think just like looking at the places where you are fighting and like can you actually even just meet those places and accept that that's there? And can you get curious about how to meet that? Because that's where to start, right? If you're resonating with this comment or to the person who wrote this comment, like,
Yeah.
because again, like Adrian said, like that energy of wanting is like putting something kind of outside of yourself, but you have an opportunity to practice some power in the here and now, even when you are, for example, in an addictive cycle, or for an example, in a cycle of hiding, right?
Mhm.
The first step would be to look at, like, okay, this is the reality of what I'm doing. Like, what is really there? Like, can we peek under the covers and kind of see like what's hiding there, like why, that is where we begin to step into power and choice.
Uh, and
That's
this is
all I would say.
Scorpio. This is Scorpio
Yeah.
as fuck. So look at your Scorpio placements, beauties. That's codes, very specific codes for your power. And the word that was coming through for this specific person, and by the way, thank you for bringing this forward because this applies to everyone, including me.
Mhm.
Resistance is the road you've
Yeah.
been looking for. It just feels way different than you want it to. That shit's uncomfortable. It's you know your ego's about to die. It's like,
That's so
wow, man.
Scorpio.
You
So
can't run from
Scorpio.
fucking Scorpio, okay? And so when we're willing to just, instead of resisting it, if we're just like, okay, this is what's happening, it's like an immediate, like it's a block becomes a blessing because you're like, okay,
Right.
I don't resist it. This is my teacher. Okay, how am I going to move with you? How am I going to dance with you? Like one thing I've been getting, it's like no more stagnant, we got to keep it moving. Do the wrong
Yeah.
thing. Do something. Like if you do the wrong thing, you're going to learn, but there's going to be energy and motion. We can't like people a lot of times with the feminine, it's like, oh, ujjayi, like I'm still, and it's like, yes, also like let the force pulse through you and let yourself move and dance with doubt. Like
Fuck
doubt
yeah.
is a signal that you're on the edge of a breakthrough. It's not a reason to stop. It's a signal like, oh, I have something to learn, I have data to collect. Like we gotta move something.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I really resonate with that, and I've been getting that message a lot through this time about movement. Juliet said, "Holy shit, Julia, I'm amazed. I sent you some voice memos on Voxer earlier about exactly this, not being able to hold on to old coping mechanisms, like it being literally impossible." This was about the timeline split, and Jessica said, "Feels like an energetic brick wall is there where that timeline used to be. Pretty wild. I have the
oh
same
yeah.
experience." And
Yeah,
Lady
by
just
the way,
got
don't waste
on.
your
Thank
energy
you.
trying to go back because it's done.
Yeah, yeah. And
I know
Ross
from
said,
personal
what's that? You know from personal experience. Yeah.
experience.
And Ross said, it's not really the calling I see most of all, it's the resistance to what we make it mean if we were to accept our calling, mostly what we would lose. Exactly. And that's a lot around about like why we feel fear our own power. Like everybody's familiar with this quote that is attributed to Marianne Williamson. Actually, it was Nelson Mandela, but about how it's not uh our badness we fear or whatever. I can't remember the exact thing, but it's that we're more powerful beyond our wildest dreams,
Uh-huh.
powerful beyond measure, something like that. But it's like it's not actually the fact that we're powerful. It's like what that power means, exactly as Ross said, and usually it's about like, am I going to be annihilated by it? Is it going to hurt someone? That's another really big thing. And
Yeah, so I really want to speak into that, and I'll just use a personal example. So I will be a millionaire by 35. I decided
man.
I went toe to toe with this whole story of like, my family's not going to love me if I'm a millionaire.
Mm.
I'm going to like, it was so big, this whole story, and like what I was making that mean, and like so what Ra's saying is so true, because it's like money is one of the biggest expressions of power, by the way, and it's required on earth, and something that the princess, you know she don't like money. or she's scared of it. More like she's scared of it. Holding that much power, there's a juxtaposition that occurs with people willing to hold a certain wattage and people unwilling or haven't done what's
Without
required to
the
hold that wattage.
capacity to
And
hold it.
so all
Yeah.
of our abandonment wounds come up because again, it's a I'm different, you know. It's
Yeah.
that kid in class where it's like, "Oh, I'm different. Like I'm not, I don't learn the same as other people and like I'm ostracized and I'm bullied and I'm made fun of and I'm cast out." And then all our past lives come in. Like I had my past life shown to me bunches of times when I was an astrologer in Egypt, and I was banished into the desert where I died because I shared something in the astrology and I shared a psychic knowing about the royal family that exposed them. And so I was
Mhm.
banished, and that is very cellular. And at the same time, it's like, okay, just being willing to go toe to toe with what we make it mean.
Yeah. Because those are the places we have to go, and Scorpio
Uh-huh.
season is like the perfect time for this. But
Yeah.
those are the places we have to go is like, if this happens, like, what is the thing? What is the fear? What is the fear that's really there of my own power? For me, I'll just say too, like, because, we said before, like, power is directly linked as well to sexual energy, right? And a lot of women are disconnected from their own power because they're disconnected from their life force energy in that regard. And for me personally, I'm a survivor of really extreme, very young, multi-year childhood sexual abuse, right? And so that energy has scared the shit out of me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, will I hurt someone with that energy the way that
Oh,
I was hurt?
and
you
I,
know
I want to share this example. First of all, thank you for sharing that. There's no deeper violation, there's
Mhm.
and it's a huge thing that a lot of women walk with, they don't talk about.
Yeah.
And for not that specific flavor of sexual trauma, I've had, a different flavor of my own.
Yeah.
um reclaiming that and healing it is a huge part of the Femme Ascension. And you
Yes.
know I really think about it like someone can have a knife and cut up food and make a beautiful meal that nourishes a whole family, right?
Mhm.
And it's a devotion. And someone can have the very same knife and go murder someone. It's not the knife, it's the person wielding it. And so that has been very it gives my mind somewhere to land when my body freaks
Mhm.
the fuck out,
Yeah.
in terms of sexual power.
Yeah. That's a really great analogy. And I think too, it's just like, and I've needed a lot of help with this. And I think like it's
Gotcha.
important to mention that like people need help navigating some of these places. And even if it's not what I just mentioned, if it's like a fear of just being rejected that feels really young or really ancient or whatever the case may be, like oftentimes we need help to go into these spaces, and it's okay. But it's really like it's required that we go into these spaces where there's wounding, where there's fear, so it's not, Adrian and I are not saying essentially that like just step into your power, like that's not really helpful,
Yeah.
hopefully like this transmission is kind of like an activation for some of you guys where you're like,
Uh,
oh yeah, I remember, right? And it's there, it's like there. But there's going to be layers of resistance to
uh-huh.
embodying that power. And again, like Adrian and I talk about this in the podcast, but this is like intentional. This is systemic and systematic how we have been taught and educated through our experiences explicitly and implicitly to fear this power
Yes.
inside. It is, and
Yes.
to fear the very things that our power is expressed in,
Uh,
like money, like sex, these things, like to demonize them, to fear them. The way that we have been programmed against those things and the traumas that live in our cells and that are intergenerational and the religious programming and all of that, it's all very intentional
mhm.
because those are the places where our true power really lies. But it's important that we go into those places with a lot of care, a lot of grace for ourselves, a lot of support, a lot of compassion. I want to make really sure to mention that.
And a lot of help. So
Yeah, a lot of
one
help. I
thing
love
you
you too, April. Thanks for the love, you guys.
Aw.
Love you guys.
I feel the heartbeats of all of you that are here live and in the replay. And I've been connecting to your heart on purpose in advance because I'm like, who needs this message and who's ready, like it's this intersection of like a deep soul need and a readiness that you've been training for this choice point and this to land in such a way that it will change your fucking life. And something I know to be true about Julia and I is we won't lie to you. We won't tell you that you can fix it in 1 week. Not that you're something that needs to be that's broken, but like that you
Yeah,
can
fixed.
transform some deep fucking trauma in 1 week. And like, I'm going to be real with you. It takes time. It takes support. It takes help. Like, it's going to be hard. There's going to be tears and there's going to be triumph. And there's a reason why not everybody walks this path. And I would never be where I am today, first, without powerful women who were willing to hold me in my power before I saw my own power,
That's right.
and people to hold my hand while I went on the path. Not in like, oh, I have all the answers and I'm going to spoon feed them to you and make you, oh, rely on me as I am the coach for you forever, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
No, no, no. People that held my hand while I learned how to use tools and remember who the fuck I am.
Yeah, we don't do this alone. We
Yeah, we
don't.
don't. And this really just
We're not
leads
supposed to.
into something that we have created because we see in ourselves and the collective and in those of you that have been underground in the power in this femme force power, like we created a way to ascend.
Well, before we share more about this, I want to read through some more of these comments 'cause
Yes, I'm excited.
I feel like I feel like we just want to riff on all the comments, but learning deep surrender has been crucial to me stepping into more power. That is how you access power. That is the access point of power. Because as long as we do not know how to surrender or we willfully refuse, usually it's because we don't understand what it actually means. We're in control energy, and control energy is actually in opposition to true power. If
Mhm,
is wherever you're in control energy, you are actually blocking access to your actual power.
mhm.
True power comes from deep surrender. That is the most powerful spot to be in. So this is
Yeah.
beautiful. I
And
love
there's
it.
a myth about surrender. Surrender doesn't mean bend over and lay down. Surrender
No.
means, and I'm not saying that that the person of that comment said that. I just feel for the collective, like that's a strong program. Like when I surrender, I'm gonna be um oppressed.
Right, right, right.
It's just, hey, this is the real reality. And from that place, it opens from
Yeah,
like
I always,
scripting to
yeah, openness is the most powerful position. And when I always think about it, like, because I'm a really visual person, and I know you like analogies and things like this too. Like your knife one was really good. But I always think of it like the ocean because I have such a deep connection to the ocean, right? And, um, you know, when we are in fight, when we are in control, we are swimming against a current, you know? But you can't, anyone who has spent any time, especially the ocean here on the Oregon coast, and I see Talia's here. Um, she's a Oregonite. I think
Oh,
you're
is that the
close to the
proper
fish too.
term? Organite?
Oregonite? No, but I'm gonna make it the proper term.
That
Anyway,
sounds like a
the
Christmas.
ocean out in Oregon is like often very stormy and choppy because it's like we don't live in a tropical climate. We live in a climate where there's storms and there's a lot of rain and there's a lot of wind and stuff, right? So it's like this. And I filmed this the other day actually on the eclipse, and I did a little bit of an activation. You can look in my stories. I filmed the water out here, but it's like whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. I'm telling you, if you try to fight that shit, like she's taking you under.
Oh yeah.
She's taking you under, right? But if you learn how to ride the current,
Hmm.
and this is the same with the energy of what is in life. It's
Yes.
just like meeting what is, and you're like, oh, okay, like this is it. This is the situation. This is what is happening. This is the energy. This is what's available to me, right? And you land just deeply there.
Oh, and
That is the place where you have power
oh,
because
and
you're aligning your power, you're aligning your will, I should say, with the collect, like with the universal wave. This is what I mean when I say like it's not egoic power, it's not mental power. It's deeper than that because it's not even just about you. It's actually about accessing the current of something that is much, much bigger than your individual self. That's the power of surrender.
and a word that literally jumped out, literally out of the screen, and it came in psychedelic. Like I don't even know what the color is in earth language. Land,
Mm.
land, land, you know, in your body, but land on the land, the truth of all of it. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Amen.
Organites unite. LOL. Absolutely. Love when magical women gather. Feeding my soul today. Sending so much love to you all. Love you, Jessica. Oh, I love that. Control energy is in opposition to power. I needed to receive that. Yeah. We've been taught that control is power, and it's just not. Um, Oh, I can't scroll up to see some of your earlier comments, you guys, but I do see this. It's so easy to become paralyzed in times of uncertainty. And, like it so is. And that's the time when I feel like it's really important to actually just slow down and stop, even because, when you're paralyzed like that, I mean, Adrian was talking a lot about the nervous system, but that's like a freeze response,
Yeah.
and a freeze response does not need to be pushed through. Like it needs to be thawed. That's how I was taught, is like when you're frozen, you need to thaw, right? Um, I actually had two different teachers tell me this.
Wow. And then you think about when you're defrosting something, you're not supposed to throw that shit in the hot oven because then all the toxins get released. You put it in the
Right.
fridge.
Right, exactly. And you wait for it to kind of like it melts and it softens, right? So we've got to slow down. And this is where I like also, as much like fire as we're bringing in this live, and as much like that is a like the energy, I also like really want to be clear about like in some of these places where we're talking about working with your nervous system to build capacity to hold more of your power and more of your feminine power. Like, we've got to bring a lot of grace, a lot of compassion, a lot of gentleness, a lot of slowness, right? We've got to bring support. We've got to be kind to ourselves in these places because that is what actually allows us to transmute things. I know it's not like really the core of the energy we're in because it's like that's the Scorpio thing, but it's just really, really important. So it's
Yeah.
okay, like if you feel paralyzed, if you feel stuck, and maybe it's not that you need to move right away, like if this is the thing for you, maybe it's that you need to just bring a lot of focused presence to
Uh-huh.
that space and just kind of slow down.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Choose consistency over volume every fucking time.
Hmm.
Doing a 3 hour,
Every day, yeah.
doing a 3 hour thing once a week is not going to move the needle like 15, 20 minutes daily.
Yeah, I really
Daily.
resonate with
It's
that.
it's it's so massively important. And this will train your nervous system over time. And here's something that I've come back to. Um, Slow is smooth, smooth is clean, clean is fast.
Ooh, I love that. Well, and one of my teachers in the past used to say too, slow down to go fast.
Yeah, slow down to speed up. Here's the thing. I'm
Yeah,
a classically trained musician. You think when I get new music, there's a hard as fuck part. I'm playing it at the speed the conductor
barreling through
wants
it.
it. No, I'm slowing it down. I'm doing it like less than half tempo, slow, methodically over time for mastery. If you can't do it slow, you can't do it fast. You might be able to do it fast, but it's going to be unclean and not, you know, excellence. And as a child
Right.
of the stars, you came here for excellence. So slowing down is your path of excellence of you.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I've been really having issues with female relationships due to them having that control energy. It just doesn't align with me. I needed to hear this. Yeah. And just, oh my God.
So
We could probably
common.
do a whole other live just on how this plays out in female relationships. And in the podcast, we talk more about also how just this element in female relationships um, of demonization, of attack, and kind of that witch trial energy,
Mhm.
uh, and then the wounding behind that, if you've been on the receiving end of that, and you're so scared to step forward because of it. That's a whole other topic that I'm super, super passionate about. But what I will say is that I think being around women, the best medicine for me has been being around women who encourage my power, are
Mhm.
not threatened by it, who hold that mirror up for me of my power, and who are committed to their own power.
Mhm.
Like that has been the thing because we do need we do need like connection. We need this belonging. Our nervous systems are wired to require a certain level of approval from other human beings, a certain level of connection, a certain level of belonging, right? And if we
Even me as an introvert, like I thought for a while during COVID, I was like, this is everything I've ever wanted. And
yeah,
then
you're like, I don't need anyone.
I was like, I'm alone. Like, and it's just like that truth, like we're wired for connection.
Yeah,
There's nothing wrong with
absolutely. And the feminine is meant to thrive in connection. You didn't
that.
just see witches off in the mountains by themselves, just like completely isolated doing their things. I mean, maybe you did, but commonly women gather to
Yeah.
amplify their magic.
Yes.
Women gather to support one another, to amplify each other's fields, to hold each other through everything that's being alchemized. Women gather, it's what we do. And so we can gather in circles where it's like, I'm gonna just complain about my life because everything is so fucked up. And we can gather where it's just, I'm gonna gossip about this person and she's such a bitch. Can you believe? We can gather and we can, point the finger at everybody else. We can gather and we can put on masks and we can pretend, or we can gather in our fucking power and we can meet each other there, right?
Yeah.
I actually
Mhm.
believe that
Here's
this
the
is how the
thing. I
world
don't even,
changes.
oh, I know. I know. And here, I don't even know if I would describe that as gathering. Like it's that if we come back to the archetypes, princesses gossip and it's cheap. It's cheap and quick, like spiritual cocaine is fake. Okay. The priestess, the queen,
Spiritual cocaine.
we gather,
Yes.
gathering. It's like I'm just getting this vision of like up here with the gossip, like that cocaine, that cheap, that like oh, I'm at a party and it's 2 a.m. and like there's all this shit and it's like ooh, and then the gathering is like a feast. Like
Yeah.
come into my home. I have roses. I have something in the oven. I have, a candle burning. I have photos of my ancestors on the wall. Like, oh, and you walk into the bathroom and there's this, beautiful towel folded so nicely. It's like it's a gather and a ceremony. It's a fucking ceremony
Hmm.
that acknowledges the power of all who are there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a whole different paradigm. It's a whole
Yeah.
different paradigm of relating to ourselves and to one another. And at the same time, it's not completely new, you know? A lot
Hmm.
of you who are watching this are going to feel like you remember that. You
Hmm.
remember how it was to connect in that way, how it was to do life together in that way, how it was to combine our magic in that way, you know?
I remember in the chat if you feel this.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a really great time to remember that, because this is Samhain, you know? Um, this is the time. This is the time.
Hmm.
So, spiritual cocaine, I love that. I'm using that. Yeah. And it's like if you go to a little spiritual cocaine party, like it's okay, you know what I mean? This is not about like, well, Julia and Adrian said that I should never gossip, and so now that I gossiped, I'm gonna beat the shit out of myself. Like, no, you're a human being. You don't have to be fucking perfect. It's okay. Like, and you're at where you're at, but just bringing a level of consciousness to like, is this really me and my power? Is this how I want to relate? Is this how I want to be related to? You know? Is this really nourishing me long term? Is
Hmm.
this really supporting who I know that I truly am? And supporting me in bringing that forward, you know? And if it's not, then like question,
Hmm.
is it something I want to keep doing?
Mhm.
So that's all. Love you too, Chanel. I remember. Yes.
Oh, my heart's so
We
happy
all
to
remember.
everywhere.
Yeah. Ross said share the live. Yes, because the coven is coming back together. It's time
The
for us
coven,
to
the coven is en route.
Yeah.
It's happening. All right. It's not up for debate. It's just, are you going to go there on purpose?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so the podcast is out tomorrow. I feel like I could talk to you all fucking day about this and
Me
everything.
too.
But I gotta really watch it with Adrian because we just go into this whole place. But it gave me chills. I'm so here for it. Yeah, I mean every woman who's on this live right now, I fucking remember you.
Yeah.
Like I remember you.
We've done this shit before.
Yeah, so excited for the podcast. Me too. And we have a an offering
Mm.
that will also be available quite soon. And it is called the Femme Power Bundle. Um, it combines, there are recordings of very potent transmissions of my modality as well as Adrian's modality. Breath work and DNA activation I have found them to be, and we've found in Homecoming as well, for them to be an incredibly complementary,
Mhm.
combination. Really, really powerful to create shifts and transformation in the realm of moving through these resistances and sparking that remembrance of who you really are and being able to embody that more. And so, my contributions to this bundle have a lot to do with the activation of um, sexual energy and relationship to money and clearing out distortions from those areas. Hi, Lilith and Taurus here. Hello. Sex and
Hello.
money, baby. Um,
Cash for the goddess. How about that?
yeah. And then we have our Lemurian return to our workshop portal, which was really phenomenal with breathwork and DNA activation. And then, Adrian, do you want to share what you've contributed
Yes.
to the bundle?
For my contribution to the bundle, I have my modality is the fusion of breathwork aligned with astrology to quantum leap with the stars on purpose. And so
Whew.
it's like your body's a portal.
So fucking magical.
Yeah.
Magical, I swear to God.
Um, so I have Libra leader breathwork. It's all to ignite your leadership and your alchemy for your femme ascension, for your femme power. So Libra is, Venus, and then it's cardinal air. It's the leader, the femme leader. And so it's going to ignite your deep feminine leadership. And then the other contribution is my soul Scorpio breathwork. And that it's called power, precision, and alchemy.
Mhm.
And it's a deep healing of any time power was used over you. You misused your own power, and just reclaiming it and using it with precision. Just like a scorpion. Think about the scorpion. It sees the thing, it's like, oh, that fucking hurt. Also, it's over. Like, so that
Oh
my two
man.
contributions. And then also we're going to be doing 3 live Q&A calls for all the queens in the bundle to just jam with
Wow.
us and ask us
Yeah.
questions for deeper integration. And so this really has been spirit called us to create portals for you to access your power during this huge timeline shift. And we're really excited. Like we've seen it change our lives. We've seen it change the lives of people in the Lemurian return. We've seen it change the lives of the women in homecoming. And now it's this darker, deeper energetic of this power. Just I just like, oh, it's like I'm so excited.
Yeah, I know. I feel you. I feel it. Yeah, so that's like, I think it's probably about like, I don't even know, over a dozen hours of content plus like 4.5 hours of live calls with us. So it's a good amount of support for this process for you if you feel called to it, if you resonated with the live. And Adrian, do we have the link for that yet, or is this
The link will
not
be
yet?
ready today or tomorrow.
Okay, okay.
I'm committed to today just because
Yay.
like, yeah, let's fucking
It's
go.
cool to, yeah, let's fucking go. It's cool to do it on Samhain, I think. But yeah, so if you want to just drop it whenever it's ready in the comments here, and if you guys want to, you can message me if you're watching this later and you can't find it or something, I'll make sure to get it to you. Um so yeah, I want to thank you guys so much for being here. Like, I feel all of you so strongly, and like I said, like there is this sense, so many women that I'm connected to, and all of you who showed up here today, I really feel this like deep resonance of this ancient power that we used to share together, that used to be honored and revered in a different way than it is now. And I am so grateful that we have found each other again.
Yes.
Just like I'm so grateful that Adrian, you and I have found each other again.
Mm.
Like that we get to be together in this timeline and we get to do it differently, you
Yes.
know? We get to do it now. We get to do it together. So
Mhm.
thank you for lending your energy, for being here, and just for being who the fuck you are, because you're incredible and I love you. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you
I
to
love
everyone,
you guys.
Julia, and just people say the light in me sees the light in you. I say the power, the core of me sees the power and core of you.
Mm.
And when we come together, we pave a path, a new ancient path. Mm.
Ancient and new.
Ancient and new.
All right. I love you guys. Have a
Love you
great
all.
Halloween, a great Samhain, and we'll see you soon.
Power up, fam.
Okay.